Week brings another headline, another outrage, another crisis, another apology. But the real story isn't what just happened. It's why the same things keep happening again and again. This show isn't about chasing the news. It's about understanding the patterns shaping our culture, the consequences they leave behind, and how we can stop being pawns in the social political games. Together, Elsa, Kurt, and Clay Novak slow it down, connect the dots, and tell the truth. No spin, no theater, and no apologies. Welcome to the show.
Well, I just realized I got to update that thing because I'm all in long hair and now I'm short hair. So time for an update, I guess.
Updated press photos. There you go.
Yeah. I guess that'll be my hiatus project because I can't leave everything alone, which is our perfect time to remind everybody, right, that we're doing a little hiatus after this week, right?
Yeah. So if you've been with us for the last 3 years that we've been doing this gig together, we normally take 2 weeks off. The last 2 weeks of August is what we target. And so we'll have this show this week and then we'll be off for 2 weeks and then we'll be back early September. It's a little bit of a break for Elsa and I. We take 2 a year. We do this one. And then I think we usually take a week around the holidays.
Yeah,
Christmas,
exactly.
New Year's time. Yeah.
Yep, that's pretty typical. But listen, I want to pat us on the back for that because my husband and I were just talking about this yesterday about podcast and the lament that there's just so many of them, which there are. There's tons. Everybody has a podcast. Like everybody has a podcast. Why not? But the flip side of that is everybody thinks that podcasting is so easy. Like, and I hear this. I don't know about you, Clip, but I hear this all the time. Like every week somebody's like, I should do a podcast. I love to talk. I got a lot to say. I'm like, that's awesome. Go for it. Do it. That's terrific. Good for you. It's the commitment is the problem. And most podcasts, most people, like the majority, for all of the podcasts that are out there in the universe, there are that many more that have been started and fallen by the wayside and just dropped, because it is like, listen, we love doing it, but neither one of us is going to lie to you and tell you that it's not tedious in that you are committed. You're doing it every week and you are doing, the same things as far as, you're researching topics, you're prepping, you're doing all of these things and you're doing it every single week. And, and there's little, not to be ungrateful, but there's little reward, right, Clay? I mean, very little reward.
And you do, we both do this together and we do it every week. And folks, it's Wednesday. And this week we're recording about, 4:30 or so on the East Coast. We usually record Wednesday afternoons. So Elsa and I both clear stuff off of our calendar, or we have to, figure out a time where we can both be on together. But you do other stuff. You do other interviews. I, guest host on another podcast. Like I've got another one tonight that I'm going to do.
Give them a plug. Go ahead and give them a plug on here.
It's the Warlocker podcast. If you are, so it's cops, soldiers, first responders, EMTs, firefighters, all those kinds of folks. And so the normal hosts, and I've been a guest on there a couple of times, but the normal hosts, one of the guys is a former Marine turned cop, and then another guy was a career cop. So that's kind of the vibe and the feel. It's a little unedited. There's some great stories that get told. But I guest host on that because, life happens, right?
Right.
And because they know that I do this show and I've been a guest on there a couple of times, when they need somebody to fill in, they give me a call and I jump in, or on specific topics, I jump in. So, and I know you do interviews and everything else. And listen, if you think you can do a consistent podcast every week, give it a shot. But I would tell you, it's far from easy. And it is definitely not easy alone. You and I have said this multiple times, right?
It's
rough. You're going to do a 60-minute by yourself. You better have your stuff together. It is no joke.
No, it's just a whole different universe. And I don't say it, and I know you don't either. I don't say it as discouragement. It's just reality. It's just, there's a reason why there's a podcast graveyard, out there. And it's very enjoyable. I love doing it. I have no interest in stopping doing it. But the reality is, every time I hear somebody say, everybody has a podcast, there are a lot of people who have podcasts, and there's also a lot of people that come to the realization of like, oh, this is a lot of work and little reward, other than the fact that you truly enjoy doing it. And it just adds to, if you're trying to build a platform or have a platform, it just adds more things to it. So that's it. That's my little soapbox about podcasting and all of that stuff. And I never remember where my little tangent started. So maybe you remember how that even started, but I don't.
I think our hiatus, I think, is what we were talking about. So yes, folks, today, and then we're off for 2 weeks, and then we'll be back. But we still have a whole show to do. So let's kick that intro and get this thing off the ground.
I love it.
Bold faith, real truth, no apologies. Stand your ground, say what you see. Elsa and Clay bring the truth out loud. No backing down, no bowing out. Turn it up, let freedom roll. This is the Elsa Kurt Show.
Well, here we go. This week, we've got a bunch of big topics, of course. I mean, why would we have small topics? That would be weird. But right off the bat, we got to talk about Fauci, of course. Fauci's texts, I think it was last week. Was it last week? We were talking about Fauci's emails. Did we touch on texts then? Were the texts out at that point?
They were not out. We knew they had his phone, but they had not
Okay.
into his texts yet. And so we've got the first kind of scratch the surface that they have found in his 34,000 text messages and voicemails that they are going through.
I mean, that number doesn't surprise me. That's probably my number of texts in a week. So it's true because I'm like, I hate talking on the phone. So I am a texter. I am against my generation. I prefer texting. So go figure. But,
I was early in texting. I got one of the very first text built phones.
Oh, you did?
So way back in 2000, I think it was 2000, late 3 or early 4, I got a Nokia phone. It looked like a standard Nokia flat face phone, but you could open it and turn it sideways, and it had the keyboard half and half on both sides of the screen. So it was built for texting.
Oh, I do remember that. Yes, I do. I do feel like that was one of my earlier phones. I, in particular, remember texting. Remember you had to text like it was like, yes.
5, yeah.
Yes, I remember that very well. And remember how fast you got? If we tried to do that now, it'd be like,
I could do it like we had StarTacs in the Army. So I could do it while under a table in a meeting. I could text. You know what I mean?
That's impressive. Yeah, I know exactly. Yeah.
I'd have to look down just to verify what I thought I typed, and then I could hit send. But
that's impressive.
Pretty solid. But so he's got 34,000 texts and voicemails that they're going through. And so the first one that has grabbed attention is about pregnant women and the vaccine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Senators Rand Paul and Ron Johnson released a small first batch. And of course, that's the big topic right now. And, you know, I got to tell you that the Fauci fanboys and Fauci fangirls, watching these people do mental gymnastics to justify, excuse, deflect, ignore they miss the point. And I just don't know if it's deliberate or if they're just that far gone. I guess what does it matter what the reason is? The fact is that they blow off the fact that his private messages were very different from his public statements. You know, so I've seen people come out and they're like, well, you know, after that, their findings were that it didn't correlate, you know, that it wasn't, you know, which I don't really buy that at all, to be honest with you. But still, they're missing the greater point here that he was lying to us.
Correct.
Don't you people think you have a right to know the possibilities, the theories, the cautions, the warnings? That right was taken away from you, and you are just defending it. And that's the part that I cannot wrap my brain around. We all should be used to this because this has been going on. I mean, I've seen people in the comment section saying, you know, one big one I've seen frequently is, what does it even matter anymore? Like a throwback to Hillary Clinton days, right? The what does it even matter anymore? Like, what does it matter anymore? So you're fine. Like, I guess my response to that would be, you're fine with that. Okay, let's apply the same rule if it were Trump administration, somebody on Trump's team telling you something, then, you know, of course, it'd be a different story, but it's...
Yeah. So this one, and this is definitely one of those cases, right? So the text that they found said, you know, that getting the vaccine could, this is the text, theoretically could be associated with miscarriages in the first trimester, right? And then days after those text messages, because this was incomplete data. So he clearly expressed a concern that there was potential that the vaccine itself, you know, could cause miscarriages. And that was based on people experiences a cytokine cytokine storm, which is an overactive immune response and a fever after the second dose. Now, there was a lot of medical terms thrown out during COVID that we all learned very, very quickly. I can tell you, I never heard the term cytokine storm.
No.
Never, not one.
Same.
So that cytokine storm and fever theoretically could be associated with miscarriages in the first trimester. And then days later, he said in public statements, this is what you were talking about, is that there were no red flags associated with taking the vaccine and pregnancy, and encouraged pregnant women to get the vaccine. So this is about ethics and character. And it is about if he's lying about this or was lying about this, then what else was he either lying about or, providing uninformed or malinformed, opinions on as doctrine, as, the rule of the law, and decisions were made based on this stuff.
Right.
6 feet apart, the masks, closing down businesses, shutting down churches and schools, and all these things that we did. He was making these decisions just off the top of his head. If I don't get data, I gotta make a decision. And he just made decisions arbitrarily that affected and impacted heavily people's lives.
Yeah.
The guy is an egomaniac. Like, there should be a good psychiatrist could take all of this information and do a full psych profile on this guy, and it would probably terrify people what they came up with.
Oh, he's in my opinion, this is a guy who is an outright sociopath. To have absolutely zero regard, care, concern for the possibilities. And, correct me if I'm wrong, if you even know, Clay, anytime that it comes to any of these vaccines, medications, prescription drugs, the amount of testing that they go through and the rigorous, protocols or conditions for them to get FDA approval, they are pulled for way, way, way less than what was allowed with this COVID vaccine. I mean, I really hate calling it a vaccine. It's not a vaccine. It never was a vaccine.
Yeah, these injections, like that's, I've kind of settled on that because that's what they were.
Yeah.
They were developed so rapidly. As you remember, because this was like, and all of a sudden it was SARS-CoV-2. We didn't know what it was. It wasn't common and so they had to develop what they were calling a vaccine. And they followed none of the normal protocols in development for, like, we literally were human testing.
Yeah.
Right. There was none of the protocols were followed. That's why there was so much discussion, within the medical community, which got squashed for the most part. Right. There were
any dissent, any disagreement, any questioning was silenced.
Yeah. You had doctors that were threatened to have their licenses taken, to be disbarred, all those things. And just think about how rapid those decisions were made. Think about respirators, put everybody on a ventilator, right? That was the thing. That was the answer. And what did we find out? That just killed people faster.
Yeah.
Like, and they, this was the whole, like, let's energize the industrial base, like Ford Motor Company, and some of the other automakers, like sections of their production lines were being turned into, to changed over to build ventilators because that was the solution, which then we found out was not just a solution. It was a horrible, it killed people. But everything that came with this, and go back to the messaging, right? Get the vaccine, it will protect you. Get the vaccine, it will protect those around you. If everybody has the vaccine, then everybody's fine, which doesn't make any sense in the first place.
Makes zero sense. And then, of course, it was
get a booster, get a third booster, get a fourth booster. There are people still getting boosters for that crap.
Right.
Masks were, they were the thing. They weren't the thing. And it's only N95s and,
right. And then don't forget, all of the anti-vaxxer shaming or unvax shaming, the you unvaxxed people are killing people. You are the reason for blah, 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 which of course, again, makes zero sense. If you're vaccinated.
What do you care if I'm vaccinated or not?
Well, what do you care? What's it to you? Everything. And I tell you, and I did see somebody in I didn't respond to him, but I'll respond here. Somebody in the comments section of one of the videos I've made a lot of content over the past, because I quite frankly, I don't know if I'm ever not going to be angry about this. I am not a grudge holder. I used to be. and I generally am not. This is one instance where I will probably be holding a lifetime grudge. There is
Sure.
no apology good enough for the absolute failing of basic human compassion and decency. And so many people showed who they really are deep down. And that's the way you find out, sadly, who somebody really is, right?
Yeah.
When when the excuse my language, everybody, but when the shit hits the fan, who are you? And we saw who a lot of people really are deep down, and and they use the excuse of fear. Well, we were scared. Well, we did the best we could with what we had. No, you didn't. No, you didn't. You really didn't. And anytime I hear that poor excuse, that explains the why you were afraid. It doesn't explain how you treated other people.
Yes.
And so so anyhow, I made a lot of content. Still, I got more to come. I'm not done with this at all. And, point being, somebody in the comments section did say, I can't believe you people are still talking about this. Like, y'all ruined lives. You destroyed lives. You killed people. Exactly. You ruined lives. You killed people. You destroyed relationships. You changed the very fabric of society in how we relate to one another, in our trust levels, in government, in pharmaceuticals, in the medical community. It changed the very fabric of the world, really, not just our country, the whole world. And I don't know if we can ever actually fully rebound from that. So that the repercussions are things that are going to be decades from now. And there's people there's people still getting these stupid shots.
Yeah.
Give me a break. Come on.
Yeah, I went for my physical at the VA, my annual earlier this week, and the doctor looked at me on my way out, and she goes, "If you're going to change she knows me well enough. Now.
She knows
you're going to change your mind. The flu shots will be coming up." And I just looked at her, and she goes, "I know, but I gotta ask,
gotta say the words."
That's where everybody's at. That's where so many of us are at right now, and will be probably for the rest of our lives.
I could
like you
pretty
said,
close guarantee it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is one of those things that many of us will never forget for sure.
No.
And some of us will never forgive, and it will affect us for the rest of our lives.
Yeah.
The skepticism will be there. Like, you have people who were never conspiracy theorists. They were always trust the government until this, and then it flipped a lot of things over. So this is the COVID and everything that happened with Fauci and all this is a seminal moment in human history that should never be forgotten.
Yeah. And shame on anybody who does. And
or encourages us to.
Right. Yeah. Forget that. No, you don't like it. You're going to have to, block me or scroll, do whatever you got to do if you don't want to hear it. Cause I am so far from being done with this. And I'll tell you, Clay, I'm not one to dwell. I'm really not. And, when we get a pause from this and all of this has come out and we move on to the next big thing, of course, I'll be done talking about it for a while, but it doesn't mean it's forgotten. It's always going to be there, and I'm always going to, and I know I speak for a lot of people when I say that, I will always view those people in my personal life and social, whatever the case. I'll always view them with a different set of eyes.
Sure.
Let's put it that way. Right. So, we'll move on to something we can kind of laugh about as we shake our head. Yeah. All right. Let's talk about. Oh, Kamala, you're so silly. Let's just watch it together here.
Have already passed laws to make it more difficult to vote. Then this president, hey, everybody. So they're trying to mess with your ability to vote, just to break it all down. You've got the Supreme Court. They just sealed the deal with this case that just came up recently, the Calais decision, which basically took the power out of the Voting Rights Act, which was designed to protect your right to vote. So you got the Supreme Court doing its thing. Then this president is trying to push this SAVE Act, which basically would require that for people to register to vote, you're going to have proof of who you are through a passport, which a lot of Americans don't have, or a birth certificate. Same point, obstacles to make it difficult for you to register to vote. And then you got the states. 19 states have already passed laws to make it more difficult to vote. And the ones that haven't passed a law are doing it in practice in many places around our country. Why? Because they're scared of you. They are scared of your power. The power you have, the power of your voice through your vote. So the work we have to do right now, let's make sure everybody, one, check your voter registration status, because, they've been purging the rolls. Make sure you register to vote. Even if you thought you were, just make sure. Next, let's make sure that everybody we know is registered to vote if they've not registered before. And then let's encourage everyone, vote early where they can, vote by mail where they can, and vote. It's going to make a difference.
She has like the worst, I don't know, breathing skills of somebody who talks like kind of professionally. Her I don't know if it's nerves. I don't know what it is, but listening to her talk, I don't know. I think that's a cadence I haven't mastered of hers yet. I can do the
Stop it. There is nothing about her speech pattern that you haven't mastered. Give it a rest.
I feel like I need to get like more panic breathing going in there. So can you imagine the audacity and the insanity that you would have to show your ID to vote? Like, it's so crazy. It's so wild.
You mean like you do to buy alcohol or cigarettes?
Like almost everything.
Get a driver's license or get a loan?
Yes.
Or to buy groceries in New York City?
Right.
Or to use the ultimate pasta pass at Olive Garden? Like those kinds of things?
Exactly. It's so, I mean, I don't know. I guess we could just simply say thank you, Kamala. Thank you for that wonderful PSA. It was so valuable, so deep and insightful, and so well done. So well done.
Yeah.
I mean,
the Republicans just need to take that. And actually, anybody and everybody who supports voter ID needs to take that and go play it. And then at the end go, yes, exactly. Thank you. Because that's exactly what everybody wants. Right. Proof of ID to vote.
Yeah. It's not the flex that they think it is. It's not the
I wrote that exact phrase down in my notes.
That's so funny.
I was like, she thought this was a flex and it clearly wasn't. That's what I wrote down.
That's hilarious. Yeah. See, we're starting to think alike now. Yeah. I mean, come on, give me a break. Like, why wouldn't we be glad that people are proving who they are in order to vote? Why would that be a problem? I guess we do know why.
Yeah.
We know why. It's just,
yeah. I mean, was it, who was it that went through and basically took the SAVE Act apart and was like, okay, this is how much time it takes and how much it costs to get a copy of your birth certificate. How much, time and how much it costs to get real ID. This is how much time it takes and how much it costs to get a passport. And they laid it all out. And truthfully, it doesn't take anything. Like it is super, super simple.
It's very easy.
Listen, it's August. Elections are in November. You have plenty of time. If you plan, if you plan forward, if you care at all, then if you don't have an identification card of some kind, state issued or federally issued, and you need those documents to get them, then get them. Like,
it's funny. They are so willing to get those caravans and those buses and those, volunteers to go pick up the people with whatever it is. If you have some kind of disability or mobility issues, they were very happy to organize that to get them to the voting, to the polls.
Yeah.
Why not organize that to get them to, their town hall or their, wherever they have to go to get that stuff? Organize that. Problem solved. There you go. If you care that much, if you're that worried about them, Kamala, why don't you organize those little van trips and you can go pick them all up and you can go bring them over and you can, walk them through the process. There you go. Problem solved.
Yeah. It's really easy. Walk in the door. Can I have your name, please? What do you need? Do you need to register to vote? Do you need supporting documentation? Oh, you need a birth certificate? Go to that table right over there and they will help you.
Right.
And somebody sits there, they've got a laptop, they show you exactly where to go because chances are you're carrying one of these, right?
Yep.
And they tell you, okay, so you were born in what state? Oh, Alabama, whatever. Oh, let's look. Alabama. Okay, go to this website. Go ahead. Order your birth certificate. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
You need your marriage certificament too? Where were you married? Oh, in this county? Oh, well, it's right down the hall. You just go right down the hall. You get a copy of your marriage. You know what I mean? Like, the solutions are out there. People are they're turning this into something that it's not because you're right. She's right. We are scared of the non-American citizens voting because they're not supposed to vote, because they're going to sway the vote for whoever pays them the most to vote for them. Right. And they shouldn't be voting anyway. So,
no.
Yeah, this is again. She just proved our point for us. As dumb as she is, you know.
Mhm.
And I love it when she's like, and this president. Oh, you mean the guy that beat you? That
Yeah.
guy?
Yeah, that guy. You can't even say his name.
That
What's the matter,
guy.
Kamala?
Yeah.
What's the matter, Cammy? You can't say it. Poor thing. Poor girl.
Is she gonna run
Yeah.
again? Do you think she's gonna run again?
Listen, I think she wants to. I mean, she's floating it, right? Or at least people are floating it
Yeah,
on
it's being
her
floated.
behalf. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's being floated. Yeah, I mean, I think she's vain and egotistical enough to do it. I mean, they all are really. You know, again, I've said it all along. My dream ticket is her and AOC. It's like,
Oh,
I mean, please, that is 100% my dream ticket. Like, just do it. Do it. It would be amazing. I feel like I never hear much of anything about Gavin anymore. I feel like that just.
Yeah, he's low profile. That's why I think he is going to run. He's low profile right now.
Yeah.
He's keeping himself out of trouble. He's waiting until the wildfires, you know, kind of die down. He's waiting for people to forget about the railroad that didn't happen. Like he's waiting for all that stuff to he's not drawing any attention.
Yeah, you know, the worst part about that is he's right. He's right,
Yeah.
because people move on so quickly on to the next outrage that if he just waits long enough, you know, enough people will have forgotten. And I mean, you know, obviously we on the right side won't forget. We'll be bringing that right up again. No problem. But yes, his own constituents and, you know, people will be saying, you know, what? Oh, no, I don't know anything about that. That wasn't that big of a deal. Yeah, whatever. But yeah, Kamala would be ideal. That would be lovely. Although I'm not going to lie. I mean, I'm honest. I'm tired of, I don't really love doing the impressions anymore.
Oh, you've got to be burned on that.
I'm so burnt out on it, and I don't mind doing it. You know, I think like literally every week I see somewhere in some comment section on something, somebody's like, bring back the Kamala. And I'm like, it's not going to be a regular thing. It's going to be the once in a while. I didn't even do that one yet. I did something else, I don't know, maybe a week or so ago. And, you know, and it's fine. I like, you know, it's actually fun just every once in a while to see, can I still do it? Oh, okay. I guess, oh boy, it comes back a little too naturally. comes back a little too easily. I don't really like that. I would prefer it's a little more difficult, but you know, whatever. We'll see. We'll see what happens.
What do we got next?
Oh, I don't know. What do we have next? Let's see. Oh, yeah. Let's talk about this. My goodness. Well, just to repeat what I said last week, I freaking love Sophie Cunningham, as does much of America, because she's pretty amazing. So, but the saga continues with the WNBA, and this is actually a little bit of a scary one. We're going to play it.
The face coming down, trying to prevent the layup, but that is just a hard hit. That's definitely going to be upgraded, I think, to a flagrant too, Ryan.
I think that is going to be a flagrant.
So yeah, I mean that was a pretty vicious. What do you call that? A clothesline? Is that a clothesline when somebody
clothesline caught her right across the face? Yeah,
right across the face. That was brutal looking, and thankfully she wasn't more injured from that than she was. She looked like she had like a bloody.
She did. So her teeth cut the inside of her mouth, like she was bleeding inside. Yeah.
Yep. So then, of course, immediately after the offender, what's her name? Dejanay.
Yeah. Dejanay's, but it's Dejanay Carrington.
Thank you.
Yeah.
She got ejected and immediately went right to her locker room and tweeted or texted out. Was it a tweet? It was probably a tweet.
Yeah.
White privilege. And then she had something else to say about it after, like, you know, basically trying to gaslight everybody as to what she meant by that, and wanted to make sure that everybody knew how articulate and smart she was, and all of those things. And of course that was in response to her getting completely blasted. You know, they were saying she was appropriating white culture with her blonde wig and all that. You know, it was all very expected. Back and forth on that. You know, there are plenty of people defending her, and probably twice as many not defending her actions, because they're actually indefensible. What she did was indefensible. That was not, you know, the poor sportsmanship, all of the things, like to the nth degree. Did I read that the Florida, wasn't the governor?
AG.
The AG, that's who it was.
Yes, so it was. Yes, it was DeSantis, but also the Attorney General of Florida said, you know, if they do that here in Florida, I'm going to press charges. Which, folks, I'll be honest with you, I'm not a fan of that. do believe, and this happened in Canada, I want to say it was probably approaching 10 years ago, that a hockey player hit another player with a stick and was arrested as he came off the ice at the end of the game. For assault with it, or maybe charged afterwards, after video review or whatever. I'm not a fan of that, truthfully.
Sure.
I think that whatever happens, in the run of the game should be handled professionally by the league, by the teams, whatever, structure exists. I don't believe in getting law enforcement involved. I think that at that point, you're ruining the game. You really, really are. So I'm not a fan of those statements. I understand why that was the reaction, because clearly this was malicious.
Right.
But I think that's overstepping. But it is indicative of what's going on in the WNBA, because even in that same game, Caitlin Clark, right?
Yep.
She's driving with the ball. She gets a couple of body bumps from her defender. And at the last second before she goes out of bounds, she throws the ball back in. She takes 2 or 3 steps, very much out of control, and brushes the official, who didn't try and get out of the way.
Right.
And as soon as that happened, Caitlin Clark regains her control and she goes running up the court, or walking up the court. And the female official tees her up, which would have been her 8th technical of the season, which would have resulted in a suspension. And everybody was shocked. Nobody knew why. And within 2 hours after the game was over with, the WNBA reviewed it. They rescinded the technical, right? But it's this reaction that everybody in that league goes after, specifically Sophie Cunningham and Caitlin Clark.
Yeah.
And they're not getting any protection. I know this is on the discussion list. They're not getting any defense or protection from their coach until it's too late.
Yeah.
So in the post-game press conference, the coach's name, what is it? Stephanie White is her name. She didn't defend Sophie Cunningham at all. She didn't defend Caitlin Clark at all. In fact, what she said was she kind of endorsed the foul by DeJounte Chamberlain. She said, well, she's a hard player. That's a hard foul. I'm okay with a hard foul like that. Now, and then for 3 days, she didn't say anything. She didn't come back and say, oh, you know what? I went back and I looked at the tape. I don't want that to happen to my players ever again. That kind of stuff shouldn't happen, blah, 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 blah. Now, last night, she has a press conference. And, now she goes after everybody who's going after her.
Yeah.
Right? Oh, if you think that I don't care about my players, she's gaslighting everybody. If you don't think I care about my players, blah, 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 blah. What have you been doing? And then she said I didn't actually see the foul in real time.
Which was bull.
Yeah. There's a great still photo of her watching the play actually happen.
Yes.
You can't miss it.
No.
So she's, and she's been like this the whole season. I think there is a competency level issue for her. I don't think she's a great basketball coach. I think she's been blessed with great players.
Right.
But I think that the WNBA needs to get her an image consultant immediately to teach her how to handle press conferences, to teach her how to do these things, because she may know a lot about basketball, which I actually question, but she doesn't know a lot about the intangibles of being a coach. And that is a leadership failure. So that's a problem. But then, you've got all of these other things going on in the WNBA. We now have three. The third one happened today. 3 men who are transgender, of course. And we support their right as a transgender athlete to enter the 2027 WNBA draft. So you've got Enes Kanter Freedom, who is a staunch conservative immigrant, who changed his name to Freedom. That's how much this guy loves America.
I love
and then you've got Royce White, and just today, Larry Sanders. These are all former professional NBA players who have declared for the WNBA draft as transgender athletes.
And this is the way to do it. This is how you combat this ideology, this insanity. Now y'all better put your money where your mouth is, because now it's on. Find a way out of this one. Good luck to you.
Because it's forcing, we talked about this last week, the 409-page collective bargaining agreement did not define what a woman was, which is what you need to define to determine who can and can't play in the league.
Yep.
Right. So now the league is going to be, and the Players Association in the collective bargaining agreement is going to be forced to define who is and is not eligible to play in the league. In other words, they have to define who a woman is.
Yep.
What a woman is. And this is what you have to do. And I'll tell you, Enos Cantor Freedom is the one who has said, actually, I think even Royce White said the same thing. If they don't allow me to declare, they don't allow me to enter the draft, or if there have been informal discussions about blackballing me, I'm going to sue them. And as that individual should, I won't say him because that would be offensive.
That would be so offensive.
Yeah.
Don't misgender them.
In response to that, interestingly enough, the Players Association came out with a statement that said, we will not be used as political pawns, which is what they have been since.
It's been their entire thing, from Black Lives Matter to, kneeling for this. And
yes, political pawns every day.
Yes.
And happily and willfully. But now that it doesn't go with their messaging, now they're going to refuse, to be political pawns.
Yeah.
And so you've got the 4 coaches who have either worn shirts or made statements as, supporting trans athletes.
Right.
You've got now you've got commentators from outside and former athletes outside of the WNBA who are weighing in on this. So the league's they're in a box right now. They're in a corner that they are going to have to argue their way out of, and it's not going to go well.
Nope, it is not. There is nothing that they cannot win. They cannot win on this one.
Nope.
Anything that they do, and they know it. And I would love to be a fly on the wall of those internal conversations, because they are mad. They are, as the saying is, they are big mad.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of that. Not a fan of that saying, but once in a while we got to throw it out there. Yes. What are you going to do? I mean, like you said, their bluff has been called, and now you either have to let them play or be prepared to be sued, because you just opened up Pandora's box. And man, oh man, if somebody had done this, if somebody of that level of prominence and ability had done this so much sooner, we would not be here right now. We would not be dealing with this right now if there were more people that were, willing to just push back. Like, for real, I mean, people, don't get me wrong, we've all been pushing back nonstop, but at this level, with this level of effectiveness, to see it happen now is like, and now it's on, and watch their entire thing just crumble.
Yeah, and it's perfect timing, because the commissioner of the WNBA is atrocious. Like, she has sent out a memo to all of the teams. There's going to be a task force that she's establishing to determine eligibility. Like, they're finally going to be forced to put down on paper who is eligible and who is not.
Yeah, they're spending a lot of time on ChatGPT trying to find a way around this.
and a lot of lawyers. There are a lot of lawyers in this.
Yeah.
So, it's going to be a challenge for them. And like you said, it's a lose-lose. They're not going to come out of this well, because they're either going to, piss off the trans community. They're going to destroy their own league by allowing these guys to come in and play. Right. They're going to find themselves in a massive lawsuit because, they secretly blackball these individuals who are declaring for the draft.
Yeah.
Nothing good is coming out of this.
No.
Nothing good for the league. Now, what's actually good coming out of this is that they are going to have to put things on paper. They are going to have to and this is going to have repercussions across all of sports.
Absolutely, because this will start. This will start a tidal wave. So other sports will,
the first domino.
Yeah, absolutely, and it will change. It will be the thing that turns the tide officially, and for for the foreseeable future. It will protect girls and women's sports finally. And how about a little irony that it took a man to do it? So go figure. Go figure. How about that?
No comment.
I guess those, right? Listen, I guess y'all aren't so toxic, are you?
Yeah. No comment.
No. Well, I did see, speaking of, I saw one, and I couldn't help but chuckle and agree, because here we go. Somebody said, you women, I'm paraphrasing, I remember the exact phrasing, but basically, you women, y'all say you want to be president, and this is like, look at your WNBA, you all emotional, violent, you'll be the first one pushing that red button. Come on. If somebody tells you your hair looks ugly, I mean, are they wrong? Because take a look at how this behavior is. I mean, this is just a basketball court, a game, and these women are clotheslining each other, and it's just insane. It's insane, and does not represent very well for women.
No, it does not
at all. But What are you going to do? What do we got next? What do we got? Oh, so we're okay. We're going from the basketball court to the ballroom. Yeah.
So I will give you $100 cash if you can tell me what was in the East Wing of the White House before it got torn down.
I don't get $100
because nobody knew. Because nobody cared, right?
No, right.
So what was in the East Wing of the White House? Because I had to look it up too, because I didn't know. Let's see, it was a theater, like a small movie theater. It was the First Lady's office and staff office. It was a glass enclosed hallway that was kind of the entry. It was one of the pass-throughs for the tours, right? And then there was the garden outside, which was the Jackie Kennedy Garden, which was used for outdoor events. That's what got destroyed. That's it. That's what everybody's worked up about, right?
Gasp.
And so a federal appeals court has stepped in a 2-1 vote that has halted above ground construction.
Yes, that's very interesting. I read that.
There was also an emergency operations center underground for the president.
Okay.
So that that is continuing, right? To that construction's good. The below ground construction is still going on, but the above ground has got to stop. So it said that the White House, they classify all these modifications that presidents do to the White House, right? That they've all done, is referred to as presidential self-help, which is funny because I'd love to find the last president that swung a hammer inside the White House.
Yeah, right.
Executive self-help does not override congressional control over property. So it's going to be appealed. You know, the White House, if it hasn't been filed already, is definitely going to appeal it. But you know, there's like, it's going to be bomb proof. There's going to be bunkers underneath. The roof is going to be drone proof, right? Yes, it's a massive entertainment space, but you know, the security concerns of how they were doing things for so many years is crazy.
Yeah.
You know, the canvas tent on the outside with no real security for modern threats, specifically being drones is probably the top one. And people are opposing this because why? Trump. That's it.
That's the only reason. That is it in a nutshell. Any other president, if any other president was doing it, it would be a non-issue. It would be fine. Even if it was a technical issue, nobody would push it. Nobody would be, you know, trying to make a thing of it. And because it's Trump, they will, you know, do every amount of gymnastics to make it not happen. And, you know, it's exhausting and unfortunate. And I always applaud President Trump for just shrugging it off and and it's a challenge to him. Like, he's like, oh, okay. I keep working at it. Then we're going to find another way. You know, let me do this way. I'll find another way. And he'll find it. He's going to make it. It will happen. It's going to happen. There is no question.
Unfortunately, if the delays last too long, it may not happen until he's out of office, which sucks.
That would be.
But he's not a guy that's like, I'm not doing this for myself. I'm doing it because it's the right thing to do, because the White House needs it, because future administrations are going to need it. Like, yes, he would love to be the first guy to pop a bottle of champagne in there, but if it doesn't happen, like, he's going to be okay. He'll be fine.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, he plays the long game, so you know. He's perfectly fine. So y'all think this hurts him. It doesn't. All you do is fuel him even more. I don't know why they don't learn their lesson. Like, they think, oh, this time we've got him. And then every single time it's like, dag nabbit, he did it again. Son of a nutcracker.
Yeah.
Oh, all right. So now we're not going to be laughing. The roller coaster of emotions in this episode for me is so intense right now. So we're talking about, and listen, let me just tell you right now, I am going to very, very deliberately make an absolute deliberate mess of his name, because I just saw a video. I'm going to tell you who I'm talking about in a second, guys. Don't worry. I just saw a video of him saying that if you can't say his name right, then keep it out of your mouth. So, I mean, challenge accepted, sir. Challenge accepted. So we are talking about, let's see, Abdul El Said. How's that? Is that massacred enough?
Pretty close. Yeah.
There you go. But anyhow, we're talking about this guy. So when when I was watching the videos, these guys, I could feel my blood pressure rising.
Yeah.
He's an amazing piece of work. He is a 41-year-old physician, former Detroit health director, and now Michigan's Democratic nominee for the U.S. Senate. He is backed by Bernie Sanders and AOC. He defeated the Democratic establishment candidate and represents the increasingly powerful progressive populist wing of the party. So when you actually look at his record, there are some pretty significant red flags. I mean, they are the biggest red flags you could ever see in your life, but that doesn't seem to matter, right? Doesn't matter for all of these people. He wants Medicare for all. All of the typical talking points of these people: Medicare for all, progressive abortion and gender policies, serious Second Amendment questions, hard left position on Israel, campaigning with probably one of the world's biggest POSs, Hassan Piker, who I actually had a video that I was going to play of him. Do you know which one I'm talking about? With the his opinions, his feelings on the Constitution and what he would do with the Constitution if given the opportunity. It was vile and vulgar and disgusting. And to have put this video on here, it would have just been one long bleep.
Yeah.
So we'll just leave it at he doesn't care about our Constitution.
Yeah. I've got 4 quotes from Piker that are clean. But it'll give you, if you don't know who Hassan Piker is, this will give you, but he is like #1 fan for Abdul al-Sayed. So Hassan Piker has said, America deserved 9/11. He said, I would vote for Hamas over Israel every single time. He has said, overall, what is my favorite flag? Hezbollah, because it's got an AK on it. It's pretty badass. And then talking about the progressive movement, he has said, we are coming. We are unbossed, unbought, unbound, and we will become undeniable. So this is a super progressive. And when we say progressive, folks, we're talking socialist communist, right? This is the ultra crazy left wing. And this is the guy, #1 endorser of Abdul al-Sayed. So like you said, he's anti-Israel. He's not just anti-Israel. He's anti any Islamic country that is friendly to the U.S. In other words, Egypt, Saudi Arabia, Jordan. He wants to cut off all funding and support for them along with Israel. Abolish ICE, super pro-union, which, you don't get elected in Michigan without being pro-union. It just doesn't happen. He was running, when he ran for state office, he wanted 100% renewable electricity in Michigan by 2030. So he's a green guy on top of everything else. But this guy, he is super anti-American, but he would be the first, and he's American born, right? So he's not, his family is Egyptian, but he was born in the United States. So this is not an immigrant. This is somebody who, has lived here his whole life, has gone to school, went to Michigan, got his undergrad, went to Columbia, got his MDs, an epidemiologist. But this guy genuinely just hates what America is, even though America's given him everything. And so
cliche.
Yeah, he is a POS of the highest order. And he is a decent shot at being a senator.
Yeah.
And this is the motive. It's these guys. This is the entire progressive movement, is to get themselves elected into office and slowly and gain momentum, but slowly start eroding the Constitution as much as they can.
Absolutely.
That is
and they're not, there's no secret. They're not hiding it. They are wide out in the open, and shame on anyone who is going along with this nonsense. You don't deserve to be called an American, first of all. Here's a little quote that surfaced from him. He said, this is a guy who said these words: when I die and stand before God and I go through everything I did in my life, I don't want to say I did it the easy way instead of the Sharia compliant way, not because of fear, because of obligation. So he's telling you flat out, Michigan, you better pay attention, man. You better come out hard against this. Otherwise, it's just going to be another domino down in this insanity, absolute insanity. By the way, I have here he is speaking. I wanted to share this just because I was, besides everything that he's saying is horrendous. Everything he's saying in this clip is horrendous. But I just want to point out his speaking style, and you tell me if you think the same thing. So here it is.
It has nothing to do with immigration.
Hold on. Try that again.
To do with the southern border. ICE is about normalizing paramilitary force on our streets. ICE is about weaponizing the idea of immigration against the Constitution itself. ICE cannot be reformed. ICE cannot be retrained. ICE has to be abolished.
Is it just me, or did he go to the Obama School of Speaking?
100%.
Right?
Yep.
Yeah. I watched a couple more from him, and I was like, wow, he's just literally mimicking.
Yes. He's
the
parroting.
mannerisms.
Exactly.
Yeah, a pure parroting of mannerisms and even tone and inflection. I mean,
Yeah.
it's impressive in its own way.
Let's slide east and talk about his compatriot in the city of New York.
Let's go ahead.
Yeah. So for those of you that, if you don't live in New York or you're not paying attention in New York City, a lot of people just know Mamdani's a piece of garbage. He's a communist, and he's trying to forward all these things. So one of the things that he ran on is he is trying to tax second homes or second luxury homes within the city of New York. And the intent is to raise $5 million in taxes. So the way this was supposed to go was, if you owned a second home in New York, you were going to have to pay additional taxes on it because it's not your primary residence. If you owned a luxury home, again, same thing. And they had them categorized out. So if you owned a condo or a co-op with a market value of $1 million or more, you were going to get a 4% tax, up to a 6.5% tax if it was $5 million or more, right? So that was a tax you were going to incur every year just for owning it, right? And then category 2 are family homes that are valued at $5 million or more, which was a 0.8% tax that would go to a max of 1.3% on any houses $25 million or more. So this is class warfare. He is taxing you, right, on your personal property for being wealthy, right? He's not taxing everybody who owns a second home. He's just taxing people who own expensive second homes. And so there's been a pause put on this by an appeals court judge. There was a lawsuit. The rollout was really bad. So it rolled out. It was supposed to take effect on the 1st of July. And what they did was they sent out, they sent out a list. The New York City Department of Finance generated a list of 1 million residences that qualified in one of these categories. But they also sent out 17,000 mailers to homeowners that they suspected of owning second homes. Now, a number of these were erroneous. A number of these, you can't prove if it's your primary or secondary residence. There's all kinds of problems with this. It was a crappy rollout. So the judge on Staten Island, judge said, ceasefire, right? Stop on this whole thing because this is all garbage and it doesn't work. So the city has already appealed the stay that was put on it or the restraining order was put on it by the judge. But this is a disaster. And it's going to go back to court on the 31st of August.
Right.
But this is blatant communist class warfare.
Yeah.
They are not just taxing you because you are rich. They are taxing you because you own things of value. And it's not a flat, hey, everybody, if you own a second home, if it's only, if it's $500,000, then you pay taxes too. No, it's just the rich people.
Right.
And this is what's going to destroy New York. He's going to drive out every wealthy person and every property owner. They're going to reduce the properties they own, and they're all going to leave.
Right.
He's already been named the best property developer in the state of Florida for 2026.
That's pretty funny. Yeah. Sadly funny. And I know all of Florida is just groaning right now and shaking their heads because they're like, don't come, please. Just don't even think about New Yorking our Florida. Yeah. Right. Oh, good grief. Yeah. He is just the absolute worst, right up there with the other guy. And it is just shocking to watch this happening in real time. I just can't even believe it, but here we are. It is happening. So obviously we're going to keep watching that and just see where this goes because there's not a hell of a lot much else we can do at the moment. We need our update. We need our update on Iran. What's the latest?
So the latest is they are telling us, it's like one of their number one negotiation points for ending the conflict / opening up the Strait of Hormuz, et cetera, is that they've jumped on the reparations bandwagon is what they have done. Iran is now saying that they want somewhere between their opening bid, which everybody thinks is going to go up, right?
Mhm.
But they're asking for somewhere between 270 and $300 billion for the United States to as reparations for the infrastructure that was destroyed and
Mhm.
for the 52,000 families of protesters that they killed. So they want us to
Mm.
pay reparations to those protesters' families because they killed them.
Mhm.
But then they also want the money to rebuild their infrastructure. And this goes on top of everything else, them wanting
Of
nuclear
course.
weapons and all this other stuff.
Right.
But the estimate is it may go up to $1 trillion is what they are asking for. But I will offer this, and people are not going to like this.
Mhm.
As a professional warrior, I not only did it for a living, but I've studied this. And warfare in the post-World War II era is very, very different from the pre-World War II era. So if you think about the aftermath of World War II, the United States specifically hung around Germany, Europe, and Japan,
Mhm.
and we oversaw the rebuild of those places. Now, in a lot of cases, it was the people who lived there who were doing the work, right? The Germans, they did a lot of the work with American oversight and some infused American dollars. Italy was the same way. We helped with Japan as well. Okay. Post Korea, same thing.
Mhm.
Vietnam, we did not do this, but other places like the Balkans, other places like Iraq, Afghanistan, we went in there and we broke everything, as you tend to do in a
Kinda.
war. But then we have offered to turn around and fix everything that we just broke.
Mm.
Which, so it is no surprise that Iran is turning around and saying, well, you need to pay us for all this stuff.
Mhm.
Because that's what we've been doing with everybody else for
Sure.
last 80 years or so.
It just feels different when you offer it instead of being told to do it.
I'm a bigger fan of, when you lose a war or when you win a war, you get to keep all the losers' stuff. Like
Yeah.
that right? So
Yeah.
that makes it a little bit different. And in which case, I actually think it turns into better discretionary warfare because we would think twice about blowing stuff up if we knew that we were going to own everything after it was over with. Right?
Actually, it's a really great point. Yeah.
But that's what Iran is basing this off of, is that they think they can bilk us for the cash because examples from Iraq and Afghanistan say that, the U.S. will turn around and pay for everything to be fixed after we broke it.
And realistically, what's going to happen?
I still don't know. And we've said this from the beginning, is that there's never been the out. We don't know what the plan is. And I still don't know what the plan is. So as soon as I get an indicator on that, I'll let everybody know. But I don't know. I don't know what that plan is.
All right. We will keep watching. We should have been, I wish I had a little ticker for how long we've been talking about this. Like I should go back to our very first, right? I should go back to our very first conversation and see what we were saying then and share it. Well, when we come back from the hiatus, if we're still talking about this, which we know we will be, I'll try and pull up that graphic for us. We have one last topic that I just found out just before we aired. Clay, you read it or saw it a little bit earlier than I did. I'm so bummed. I'm so sad to see this, but Caroline Leavitt, she is stepping away from her duties. She's going to do some at-home stuff, taking care of her babies. And like you said, Clay, people are going to speculate that, Trump booted her out and he was mad at her and blah, blah, blah. None of that is true. There's absolutely no way. As a matter of fact, this was his statement here. For those of you that are listening, I'm going to read it to you from President Trump. He said, "Our wonderful White House press secretary and one of my most trusted aides, Caroline Leavitt, will be departing her role at the end of the month so she can spend more time with her beautiful young children and family. A decision I totally understand and respect. Caroline will now be one of my top outside advisors and an influential voice within the Republican Party as we work to defy history and conclusively win the midterm elections." Caroline has been a real leader in the White House and has done a phenomenal job fighting for justice, liberty, and freedom since 2018, including our historic reelection campaign of 2024. Caroline has been one of the best White House secretaries in the history of the office. Thank you, Caroline, for a job well done. President Donald J. Trump. Very nicely said. Very, very nicely said. It's not one of his usual crazy statements that he makes. I mean, I agree with his statements fully. I think she is, if not the absolute best, right up there with him. Kayleigh McEnany always stands out in my mind as being exceptional, and she is no less of a caliber of press secretary. She's amazing. So I'm sure we're not done seeing from her or hearing from her,
Yeah.
but just in that capacity until her kids maybe get a little bit older. Might be just kind of a behind the scenes.
It's funny. I think it's funny. The president said she'll continue to be, a top advisor. And if you've ever heard of anybody, like I know Marco Rubio, Secretary Rubio talks about it all the time, but I've heard other people too. Like if you know who Tyrus is, right? Gutfeld often.
Yeah.
So him and President Trump text each other. He's like, he gets text messages from President Trump at 2:30 in the morning. And this
So
is just
crazy.
a guy on TV, right?
Yeah. I love
Secretary Rubio says it all the time. Like the president calls him at 3:00 in the morning.
Yes.
They're on Air Force One coming back from a trip. The president's wandering around at 2:00 in the morning looking to talk to him.
Right.
Like Caroline Leavitt is not off the hook.
No,
She's
not even close.
going to continue to be an advisor to the president. She is still going to get those phone calls at 2:00 in the morning. That is
absolutely.
She just isn't going to have to be in the office at 8 or 7 the next morning after one of those phone calls. So she'll have a little bit of leeway. But I don't think she's going to be very far outside of arm's reach of the president until he's out of office. Yeah.
No, I don't think so. There's no animosity, no ill feelings. Everything is fine and good. This is a woman who just had a baby just like a couple months ago, basically. Yep. So her decision is completely understandable. And her willingness to, she came, right back, basically, right after having that baby and has been making it all work. And that the toll that takes on your body and your mind to be doing everything all the time. You do burn out. And she probably just said, listen, before I burn out, let's do this at the right time here before there's a problem. So good on her for making a really hard decision. I'm sure it was difficult for her to step back like that because she's a worker, man, that girl.
Oh yeah, for sure.
She's just absolutely incredible. So wishing her the absolute best and enjoying that baby time because as we all know, it goes so fast and the next thing you know, you're a grandparent.
And be on the lookout for the Marco Rubio meme of him sitting on the couch saying Marco Rubio just found out that he now has to be the press secretary too.
I'm going to go hurry up and make it, Clay. I'm going to go make that meme. I'm sure somebody beat me to it, but I'm going to make my own. So there, whatever. Oh my goodness. As usual, great show, great topics, Clay. Great job on that. Enjoy your hiatus. I hope you're going to do fun things. I'll be going to see those grandbabies, of course. So.
Of course you will. And enjoy that as well. And hey, folks, listen. We have to apologize for last week. Yes, there was an audio issue with my microphone. I think we've got it fixed.
Yes, it sounds nice and clear. Perfect.
I think we're good this week, but we apologize. So we will see you all in a couple of weeks. And thank you, as always, for tuning in and jumping in the comments section, whether it's during the broadcast or if it's on some of the things we post on social media. So thanks for that. We love the participation, and we'll see you in 2 weeks. As always, for me, keep moving, keep shooting.
Take care, guys. See you soon.
The headlines will change by tomorrow, but the patterns won't. Thanks for spending this time with us. We'll be back to keep asking the harder questions and telling the quieter truths. Until then, stay grounded, be discerning, and we'll see you next time.